Have you ever just stopped and wondered how you know things? I'm not talking about memorizing facts for a test, but the really deep stuff, the basic concepts that let you make sense of the world. Well, we're about to dive into one of the most amazing things your brain does without you even realizing it.
So let's start with something super simple. How do you know what a chair is? I mean, really think about it. You've seen thousands of them in your life. Big ones, small ones, weird artsy ones, and yet somehow your brain looks at all of them and just says, yep, that's a chair. How does it do that?
Well, here's the secret. Your brain isn't just a video camera passively recording everything it sees. No, it's way more active than that. It's more like a detective, and it has one incredible superpower. It finds patterns. This skill, pattern recognition, is pretty much the key to, well, understanding everything.
Okay, so if your brain is a detective, how does it start its investigation? Well, the first and most straightforward method is what you could call the checklist. Your brain starts by looking for the most obvious physical clues.
So when you look at an object, your brain quickly breaks it down. It asks a few simple questions. Does it have legs? Check. Does it have a flat surface you can sit on? Check. A backrest? Check. If an object ticks enough of these boxes on the mental checklist, boom, your brain says, that's a chair. Simple enough, right? But this method has some serious flaws.
Because then you run into something like a beanbag. It has no legs, it doesn't really have a flat surface, and there's definitely no rigid backrest. It basically fails every single point on the checklist, and yet, instantly, it's a chair. So clearly, our brain has another trick up its sleeve.
And that brings us to the next level of how you think. If the first method was your brain as a detective, this next one is your brain acting like an artist, creating a kind of mental collage.
There's a really cool idea in psychology that helps explain this, and it's called prototype theory. The idea is that your brain doesn't remember one single perfect example of a chair. Instead, it creates a kind of blurry, general average of every single chair it's ever seen.
Just imagine it for a second. Your mind takes a snapshot of that wooden chair at your dining table, your rolling chair at the office, that big comfy recliner in the living room, and it just layers all of those images right on top of one another.
So what you end up with is this fuzzy composite image, a prototype chair. It's not any specific chair, but it's the essence of all of them. So now, when you see a new object, your brain doesn't run a checklist. It just asks, hey, how much does this new thing look like my prototype? If it's a close enough match, you recognize it in a split second.
But even that doesn't fully explain it. What about the beanbag? Or what about deciding to sit on a tree stump in the park? This is where our brains do something truly brilliant. Your brain stops being a detective with a checklist or an artist with an average, and it becomes a philosopher.
And this is a huge leap. You see, a simple machine or a basic computer program might be told to look for the physical parts, legs, a seat, a backrest. But your brain asks a much, much deeper question. It asks, what is this thing's job?
And this is the real game changer. It doesn't matter what it's made of or what it looks like. It could be a beanbag, a log, or a weird-looking modern art sculpture. If its purpose, its function, is for sitting, your brain just goes ahead and files it under chair. It's an understanding of purpose over parts.
So we've got these three different methods, right? The detective's checklist, the artist's average, and the philosopher's job. So how on earth does your brain combine all of this so fast and so flawlessly? Well, it uses this incredible mental filing system.
Okay, here's the magic all laid out. It's like this lightning-fast four-step process. First, your brain does a quick scan of the basic features, the checklist. At the same time, it compares the object to its mental prototype. Then, and this is the crucial part, it thinks about the object's purpose. And once it's got a confident match, it files that object away in the correct mental folder. And that final step, that filing it away, relies on a seriously powerful mental tool called abstraction. This is your brain's ability to ignore all the little unimportant details, like the color, the material, or the exact size, so it can focus on the core idea, the very essence of, chairness.
When you really step back and look at this whole process, it's absolutely amazing. This is a cognitive superpower that you are using every single second you're awake, and you probably never even give it a second thought.
Let's put it another way. Imagine you're trying to teach a robot to recognize a dog. If you just tell it dogs have fur and 4 legs, well, it's going to get confused by a cat. If you show it a picture of a golden retriever as its prototype, it'll have no idea what to do with a chihuahua. But
When you explain what dogs do, that they bark and chase balls, that's when it starts to get closer to real understanding.
And here's the most incredible part of all. Your brain runs through all three of those complex methods, the feature scan, the prototype match, and the function analysis instantly. It all happens so fast, so unconsciously, that you just know. It just happens.
This amazing ability to abstract, to see the chairness in a beanbag or the dogness in a chihuahua, is really the foundation of human intelligence. And it leaves us with a really big question, especially today. Is this variability the one thing that truly separates our minds from the artificial intelligence we're trying to build?